Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So I want to talk about a couple of things that I meant to talk about yesterday. There's actually some updates here for the Walking Dead Dead City that I do want to get into. So make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. Also, definitely go follow me on Twitch. I'm going to be streaming later on tonight. I'll be playing a lot of Minecraft. I'm honestly just really excited for the movie and whatnot. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be playing a lot of that. I don't think the movie's going to be that great, to be honest. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't been excited for a movie in a while. So yeah, definitely go follow me on Twitch. I'll be streaming there later on tonight. And so yeah, make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. But let's actually get into a few things that I want to talk about here. So the one thing that I wanted to mention actually was in terms of like Dead City Season 2 being the final season, or like, is it going to be, because of what Jeffrey Dean Morgan posted the other day, in terms of like, is this continuing, ending? I guess we'll have to wait and see sort of thing. I went back and watched a lot of like interviews and all of that, and to see like, could I get some sort of like, I guess feeling overall in terms of like, is this going to be, the ending here with season 2, and like, whether or not the actors said things like, yeah, I had a lot of fun like playing the character, or like, would talk about the show in like a past tense, like I had a lot of fun and it was an honor being on the show kind of thing, right? So I went back and like watched a lot of stuff. I even watched IGN's Fan Fest that happened like a month ago, and there was really nothing like that in terms of, talking about the show being like the final season or anything like that. Like all the talk about season 2 was that, yeah, it's season 2, and like, this was a really amazing season, and there was talk about the future with like reuniting with Rick and whatnot. There was actually a mention about like, oh, I wish we could go to places like Spain and whatnot, right? Because obviously the Walking Dead Daryl Dixon is in Spain. They were just in France before that, so they were kind of laughing about that, because they get to do all of that and everything. And so, there was a lot of talk about things like that, and so I'm not really getting any sort of impression overall that this would be the final season. So I'm expecting that whatever happens here in season 2 is most likely not going to be the end. And so maybe Jeffrey Dean Morgan is just posting that just to be very, just to cause stuff and have everyone kind of freak out like, oh, is this going to be the end kind of thing, right? It's so hard to say because, again, I always bring up the fact that, the early reviews are coming out on the same day as this event. And so I just wonder if there's going to be some sort of announcement for that, right? Like if this is going to be the final season, if something happens in season 2 that sets up a season 3, or just what's happening there? Is this turning into a different show maybe? Is that why they're all acting like, like Maggie and Negan's story is going to be continuing, is because maybe Dead City is ending here, but there's going to be a different spin-off with other characters joining, and it's going to be called something else. And so it's not necessarily the end, but in terms of what Dead City was, like this is the end of like this show. Like I don't really know, but again, they're calling this season 2. Like I know World Beyond had 2 seasons, but they confirmed way beforehand that it was a limited series, that it was going to be like 2 seasons long. We knew for a very long time, even watching season 1, I'm pretty sure we knew that season 2 was going to be the end. And so, I look at it like, the show's premiering in a month from now, and they're just calling it season 2. Like there's no way this is going to be the end. I would be absolutely shocked. A lot of the polls that I've seen, or like a poll that I actually did on Twitter or X, most people are saying that, yeah, season 2 doesn't make sense to be the end. And so season 3 maybe is the end. Like maybe that's sort of what they're teasing here, is that season 3 is going to be the very final season. Or honestly, Jeffrey Dean Morgan could just be, teasing the fact that it's going to get a renewal for season 3 here. So obviously we're going to have to wait until the end of this month here. That's when that event is going to be happening. It's going to be literally happening a couple of days before Dead City season 2 premieres. And so that's kind of what I mean by that. Like if they said, yes, this is going to be the final season, and we're just thrown into the final season of the show a couple of days before the premiere, that would be so different than any other show beforehand that I think a lot of people that like Dead City would be very upset with that, to be honest, because I've been seeing a lot of just that online right now. So I hope that that's not the case. I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. But I do want to talk about one thing actually where we could get some sort of indication on what's happening here. And that is this event that is called Can Series or something like that. The Walking Dead Dead City Season 2 is going to be there. They're actually going to be showing off the very first episode, I believe. It's going to be the world premiere here. And I guess people are going to be watching the very first episode here. I know Norman Reedus is supposed to be there, so that's going to be really interesting. Jeffrey Morgan's going to be there as well. So again, that is happening during the week before April 30th. I think it's actually between the 24th and the 29th. So I have no idea when Dead City Season 2's world premiere is going to be. It's going to be at some point around there. But yeah, if there's interviews at all, I imagine we're going to find out some information there. The one thing that I will say in terms of Jeffrey Dean Morgan doing interviews with The Walking Dead and everything, like I've been following it a lot, obviously, the last couple of years, and he's been somebody that has always wanted there to be a lot of like suspense and just like, like, is it going to be the end? Is this character going to die this season? Like, he really did not like that Dead City was announced before the very final season of The Walking Dead, because he thought that it just ruined all the anticipation for like, how is it going to end? Our character's going to die, all of that, because you knew the characters were going to be going on, right? So I think that that is something that in terms of renewing the show, you know, they kind of wait for. Like, if you remember with season 1, like of Dead City, they renewed it for season 2, I believe, literally like a couple of days before the finale. At some point during Comic-Con, I believe, is when they actually renewed it for a season 2. I think it was actually the Thursday or Friday before the finale aired on that Sunday. So I could be wrong with that, but I do remember something like that happening. So like they waited a while to renew it for season 2. So not having the renewal right now is not anything different at all. Like definitely not. Like The Walking Dead would get renewed for another season during the season airing, right? A lot of the times. And so yeah, we're just gonna have to wait and see what actually happens here. But that event happening here at the end of the month, well, there's 2 events now. I mean, we're gonna have to wait and see what happens here. It'll be really exciting. I do think that it's most likely gonna have another season for sure. Maybe it's the final season, but I mean, I honestly, like, in terms of what I've seen, like with the interviews and everything in the past, like there's been no indication of that at all. The only things that I'm thinking about in terms of, you know, is this the end, is I know that the showrunner for Dead City is supposed to be on severance for season 3. So, I mean, that's going to be 2025-26. So obviously he's working on that like right now going into like next year or whatever. And like that doesn't really affect Dead City too much since the show obviously seems to be coming out every 2 years, right? So like, I don't think that's going to affect that necessarily. But like, again, that's one thing, you know, if he's actually done with the show because it was only 2 seasons kind of thing. And then there's also the fact that, you know, the early reviews are coming out on the same day. So we'll see. But yeah, this event here happening at the very end of the month here is going to be really interesting. I do wonder when exactly it's going to be, if it's going to be on the 24th, 25th, or whatnot, but somewhere around then we're going to get the world premiere of Dead City season 2, so that's going to be really cool. But I do want to talk about a couple of things here. So Andrew Lincoln and David Morrissey, who plays the governor, actually took a photo with a fan the other day, and it was kind of cool to see. I will say, in terms of, you know, when I first saw the photo, I was just like, oh, is this Walking Dead related at all? But I mean, obviously they know each other from The Walking Dead, but I mean, the governor is gone, so like they can't really necessarily do a story there at all. Like if Scott Gimple was there talking with David Morrissey, then I would be like, okay, so this is a little interesting, right? But in terms of them just hanging out or whatever, like obviously they're probably just most likely friends. And so it was really cool to see Andrew Lincoln. Like I really can't wait for his new series premiering at some point this year. I believe it's in the fall, called Cold Water. That's going to be really exciting. And also, I do wonder, you know, could we ever see the governor again? I think that the governor is just a really interesting character that I think at this point right now would be really cool to actually see him come back. But like, has it been too long? Because the character hasn't been, you know, I guess really talked about at all in terms of like The Walking Dead and everything in like, what, 10 years or something or more. And I just wonder if they could do a story like that right now. Like obviously doing like Tales of the Walking Dead or something like that, you could do that, but I feel like it has to happen like right now or in the next couple of years, because if it doesn't happen then and then it's like 2030, like at that point it's been way too long, right? Because if you're going to do a governor story at all in terms of like Tales of the Walking Dead or some sort of like backstory episode, it's going to be done as like, you know, something that happened before what we see happen on The Walking Dead, right? So it would be some sort of origin story almost for the governor. So, you know, they could get into that there. That would be a lot of fun. But again, they would have to do it like right away. I think that's a frustration I have with Tales as well, is just like, why not tell that story? Like everyone wants that story. Honestly, like you could make that a really incredible, like 1 episode or 2 episode thing, right? Where we actually see the story of the governor told in terms of like his origin story, very much like how we got Here's Negan, right? That was a really incredible story. I think you could do the same exact thing there. They made Jeffrey Dean Morgan look a lot younger there, so they could do the same thing there with the governor. And yeah, that would just be really cool to see. But yeah, in terms of, you know, the governor and that story, like I really do miss that story. I probably should go back and rewatch it, but I'm gonna leave it here. Definitely post all your thoughts down below on, you know, I guess what you think is going to be happening, you know, in the future in terms of like the governor, and could we see him come back at some point, or is that story done? And I guess Dead City Season 2, like, do you think it's going to be the final season, or do you think Jeffrey Dean Morgan's just messing with us right now? Definitely post all your thoughts down below. And also remember, I will be streaming live later on Twitch, so definitely go follow me there. My channel name is Appetite for the Dead, and yeah, I'll be streaming some Minecraft there. Maybe some Walking Dead Minecraft, that would be a lot of fun. We'll have to wait and see, but definitely some Minecraft, so yeah, I hope to see you guys there. But again, post all your thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.